tribute to Dr. Jane Goodall, and the tribute will be delivered by Dr. Mjingo, who is a Director General of TAWIRI. And of course, we are going to give 1 minute silence while standing before we begin our official opening businesses. So just be informed. Thank you so much.
tunachokifanya. Kuna folder mmetengeneza wote katika group PC. Nitakaa nayo hii afu nitakuwa na move, lakini option tulioambiwa nyingine
Dear delegates, I've been advised for the purpose of live streaming, if you can fill the front seat first, because this session is
Taasisi ya Utafiti wa Wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Maliasili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bioanuwai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalam kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na taasisi ni pamoja na muingiliano wa watu na wanyamapori, magonjwa ya wanyamapori, ekolojia ya wanyamapori, tafiti za ufugaji wa nyuki, kuidadi wanyamapori na matumizi ya teknolojia katika uhifadhi. Mambo mengine ni pamoja na uandaji wa mipango mikakati ya kuhifadhi wanyama muhimu kama vile tembo, faru, swala, twiga, sokwe mtu, tumbusi na kuendelea. Kadhalika, utafiti wa wadudu pamoja na ukusanyaji wa taarifa za wadudu nchini wenye umuhimu katika masuala ya uchavushaji na kuhakikisha afya ya mifumo ekolojia nchini. Vivutio vingi vya utalii ni matokeo ya tafiti za wanyamapori zilizopelekea kufahamika kwa tabia mbalimbali za wanyama kama kuhama kwa nyumbu na vipindi vyake katika mfumo ekolojia wa Serengeti. Halafu, mfanano wa tabia za sokwe na binadamu wanaopatikana katika hifadhi ya Gombe na simba wawezao kupanda miti katika hifadhi ya Ziwa Manyara. Hivi karibuni tumeshuhudia ongezeko la watalii nchini, ikiwa ni matokeo ya filamu ya The Royal Tour. Na kwa maana hiyo, taasisi imeendelea na jukumu lake la kuishauri serikali, mamlaka za usimamizi wa wanyamapori na Watanzania kwa ujumla kuhusu uhifadhi endelevu wa rasilimali zetu. Kwa kutambua umuhimu wa jukumu la kitaifa linalotekelezwa na TAWIRI, TAWIRI imeendelea kufanya tafiti za kimkakati ikiwemo urudishaji na uhifadhi wa shoroba za wanyamapori katika miradi mbalimbali ya kimaendeleo, ikiwemo mradi wa kufua umeme wa Nyerere, mradi wa treni ya mwendo kasi ya umeme maarufu kama SGR, ili kuweza kuishauri serikali katika kuhakikisha uhifadhi wa wanyamapori. Hii ndiyo TAWIRI.
Sio kama natania, sikukuu za utafiti tumepania.
Taasisi ya Utafiti wa Wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Maliasili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bioanuwai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalamu kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na taasisi ni pamoja na muingiliano wa watu na wanyamapori, magonjwa ya wanyamapori, ekolojia ya wanyamapori, tafiti za ufugaji wa nyuki, kuidadi wanyamapori na matumizi ya teknolojia katika uhifadhi. Mambo mengine ni pamoja na uandaji wa mipango mikakati ya kuhifadhi wanyama muhimu kama vile tembo, faru, swala, twiga, sokwe mtu, tumbusi na kuendelea. Kadhalika, utafiti wa wadudu pamoja na ukusanyaji wa taarifa za wadudu nchini wenye umuhimu katika masuala ya uchavushaji na kuhakikisha afya ya mifumo ekolojia nchini. Vivutio vingi vya utalii ni matokeo ya tafiti za wanyamapori zilizopelekea kufahamika kwa tabia mbalimbali za wanyama kama kuhama kwa nyumbu na vipindi vyake katika mfumo ekolojia wa Serengeti. Halafu, mfanano wa tabia za sokwe na binadamu wanaopatikana katika hifadhi ya Gombe na simba wawezao kupanda miti katika hifadhi ya Ziwa Manyara. Hivi karibuni tumeshuhudia ongezeko la watalii nchini ikiwa ni matokeo ya filamu ya 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒕. Na kwa maana hiyo, taasisi imeendelea na jukumu lake la kuishauri serikali, mamlaka za usimamizi wa wanyamapori na Watanzania kwa ujumla kuhusu uhifadhi endelevu wa rasilimali zetu. Kwa kutambua umuhimu wa jukumu la kitaifa linalotekelezwa na TAWIRI, TAWIRI imeendelea kufanya tafiti za kimkakati ikiwemo urudishaji na uhifadhi wa shoroba za wanyamapori katika miradi mbalimbali ya kimaendeleo ikiwemo mradi wa kufua umeme wa Nyerere, mradi wa treni ya mwendo kasi ya umeme maarufu kama 𝒓𝒔𝒆𝒄 ili kuweza kuishauri serikali katika kuhakikisha uhifadhi wa wanyamapori. Hii ndiyo TAWIRI.
Sio kama natania, sikukuza utafiti tumepania.
Taasisi ya Utafiti wa Wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Maliasili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bioanuwai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalamu kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na taasisi ni pamoja na muingiliano wa watu na wanyamapori, magonjwa ya wanyamapori, ekolojia ya wanyamapori, tafiti za ufugaji wa nyuki, kuidadi wanyamapori na matumizi ya teknolojia katika uhifadhi. Mambo mengine ni pamoja na uandaji wa mipango mikakati ya kuhifadhi wanyama muhimu kama vile tembo, faru, swala, twiga, sokwe mtu, tumbusi na kuendelea. Kadhalika, utafiti wa wadudu pamoja na ukusanyaji wa taarifa za wadudu nchini wenye umuhimu katika masuala ya uchavushaji na kuhakikisha afya ya mifumo ekolojia nchini. Vivutio vingi vya utalii ni matokeo ya tafiti za wanyamapori zilizopelekea kufahamika kwa tabia mbalimbali za wanyama kama kuhama kwa nyumbu na vipindi vyake katika mfumo ekolojia wa Serengeti. Halafu, mfanano wa tabia za sokwe na binadamu wanaopatikana katika hifadhi ya Gombe na simba wawezao kupanda miti katika hifadhi ya Ziwa Manyara. Hivi karibuni tumeshuhudia ongezeko la watalii nchini ikiwa ni matokeo ya filamu ya 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒕. Na kwa maana hiyo, taasisi imeendelea na jukumu lake la kuishauri serikali, mamlaka za usimamizi wa wanyamapori na Watanzania kwa ujumla kuhusu uhifadhi endelevu wa rasilimali zetu. Kwa kutambua umuhimu wa jukumu la kitaifa linalotekelezwa na TAWIRI, TAWIRI imeendelea kufanya tafiti za kimkakati ikiwemo urudishaji na uhifadhi wa shoroba za wanyamapori katika miradi mbalimbali ya kimaendeleo ikiwemo mradi wa kufua umeme wa Nyerere, mradi wa treni ya mwendo kasi ya umeme maarufu kama 𝒓𝒔𝒄𝒄, ili kuweza kuishauri serikali katika kuhakikisha uhifadhi wa wanyamapori. Hii ndiyo TAWIRI.
Sio kama natania, sikukuza utafiti tumepania.
Taasisi ya utafiti wa wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Maliasili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bayonuai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalamu kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na taasisi ni pamoja na muingiliano wa watu na wanyamapori, magonjwa ya wanyamapori, ekolojia ya wanyamapori, tafiti za ufugaji wa nyuki, kuidadi wanyamapori na matumizi ya teknolojia katika uhifadhi. Mambo mengine ni pamoja na uandaji wa mipango mikakati ya kuhifadhi wanyama muhimu kama vile tembo, faru, swala, twiga, sokwe mtu, tumbusi na kuendelea. Kadhalika, utafiti wa wadudu pamoja na ukusanyaji wa taarifa za wadudu nchini wenye umuhimu katika masuala ya uchavushaji na kuhakikisha afya ya mifumo ekolojia nchini. Vivutio vingi vya utalii ni matokeo ya tafiti za wanyamapori zilizopelekea kufahamika kwa tabia mbalimbali za wanyama kama kuhama kwa nyumbu na vipindi vyake katika mfumo ekolojia wa Serengeti. Halafu, mfanano wa tabia za sokwe na binadamu wanaopatikana katika hifadhi ya Gombe na simba wawezao kupanda miti katika hifadhi ya Ziwa Manyara. Hivi karibuni tumeshuhudia ongezeko la watalii nchini ikiwa ni matokeo ya filamu ya 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒕. Na kwa maana hiyo, taasisi imeendelea na jukumu lake la kuishauri serikali, mamlaka za usimamizi wa wanyamapori na Watanzania kwa ujumla kuhusu uhifadhi endelevu wa rasilimali zetu. Kwa kutambua umuhimu wa jukumu la kitaifa linalotekelezwa na TAWIRI, TAWIRI imeendelea kufanya tafiti za kimkakati ikiwemo urudishaji na uhifadhi wa shoroba za wanyamapori katika miradi mbalimbali ya kimaendeleo, ikiwemo mradi wa kufua umeme wa Nyerere, mradi wa treni ya mwendo kasi ya umeme maarufu kama SGR, ili kuweza kuishauri serikali katika kuhakikisha uhifadhi wa wanyamapori. Hii ndiyo TAWIRI.
Sio kama natania, sikukuu za utafiti tumepania.
Taasisi ya utafiti wa wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Maliasili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bioanuwai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalamu kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na taasisi ni pamoja na muingiliano wa watu na wanyamapori, magonjwa ya wanyamapori, ekolojia ya wanyamapori, tafiti za ufugaji wa nyuki, kuidadi wanyamapori na matumizi ya teknolojia katika uhifadhi. Mambo mengine ni pamoja na uandaaji wa mipango mikakati ya kuhifadhi wanyama muhimu kama vile tembo, faru, swala, twiga, sokwe mtu, tumbusi na kuendelea. Kadhalika, utafiti wa wadudu pamoja na ukusanyaji wa taarifa za wadudu nchini wenye umuhimu katika masuala ya uchavushaji na kuhakikisha afya ya mifumo ekolojia nchini. Vivutio vingi vya utalii ni matokeo ya tafiti za wanyamapori zilizopelekea kufahamika kwa tabia mbalimbali za wanyama kama kuhama kwa nyumbu na vipindi vyake katika mfumo ekolojia wa Serengeti. Halafu, mfanano wa tabia za sokwe na binadamu wanaopatikana katika hifadhi ya Gombe na simba wawezao kupanda miti katika hifadhi ya Ziwa Manyara. Hivi karibuni tumeshuhudia ongezeko la watalii nchini, ikiwa ni matokeo ya filamu ya 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒕. Na kwa maana hiyo, taasisi imeendelea na jukumu lake la kuishauri serikali, mamlaka za usimamizi wa wanyamapori na Watanzania kwa ujumla kuhusu uhifadhi endelevu wa rasilimali zetu. Kwa kutambua umuhimu wa jukumu la kitaifa linalotekelezwa na TAWIRI, TAWIRI imeendelea kufanya tafiti za kimkakati, ikiwemo urudishaji na uhifadhi wa shoroba za wanyamapori katika miradi mbalimbali ya kimaendeleo, ikiwemo mradi wa kufua umeme wa Nyerere, mradi wa treni ya mwendo kasi ya umeme maarufu kama SGR, ili kuweza kuishauri serikali katika kuhakikisha uhifadhi wa wanyamapori. Hii ndiyo TAWIRI.
Sio kama natania, sikukuu za utafiti tumepania.
Taasisi ya utafiti wa wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Maliasili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bioanuwai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalamu kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na taasisi ni pamoja na muingiliano wa watu na wanyamapori, magonjwa ya wanyamapori, ekolojia ya wanyamapori, tafiti za ufugaji wa nyuki, kuidadi wanyamapori na matumizi ya teknolojia katika uhifadhi. Mambo mengine ni pamoja na uandaji wa mipango mikakati ya kuhifadhi wanyama muhimu kama vile tembo, faru, swala, twiga, sokwe mtu, tumbusi na kuendelea. Kadhalika, utafiti wa wadudu pamoja na ukusanyaji wa taarifa za wadudu nchini wenye umuhimu katika masuala ya uchavushaji na kuhakikisha afya ya mifumo ekolojia nchini. Vivutio vingi vya utalii ni matokeo ya tafiti za wanyamapori zilizopelekea kufahamika kwa tabia mbalimbali za wanyama kama kuhama kwa nyumbu na vipindi vyake katika mfumo ekolojia wa Serengeti. Halafu, mfanano wa tabia za sokwe na binadamu wanaopatikana katika hifadhi ya Gombe na simba wawezao kupanda miti katika hifadhi ya Ziwa Manyara. Hivi karibuni tumeshuhudia ongezeko la watalii nchini, ikiwa ni matokeo ya filamu ya 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒕. Na kwa maana hiyo, taasisi imeendelea na jukumu lake la kuishauri serikali, mamlaka za usimamizi wa wanyamapori na Watanzania kwa ujumla kuhusu uhifadhi endelevu wa rasilimali zetu. Kwa kutambua umuhimu wa jukumu la kitaifa linalotekelezwa na TAWIRI, TAWIRI imeendelea kufanya tafiti za kimkakati ikiwemo urudishaji na uhifadhi wa shoroba za wanyamapori katika miradi mbalimbali ya kimaendeleo, ikiwemo mradi wa kufua umeme wa Nyerere, mradi wa treni ya mwendo kasi ya umeme maarufu kama 𝒓𝒔𝒆𝒄, ili kuweza kuishauri serikali katika kuhakikisha uhifadhi wa wanyamapori. Hii ndiyo TAWIRI.
Sio kama natania, sikukuza utafiti tumepania.
Taasisi ya utafiti wa wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Mali Asili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bioanuwai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalamu kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na taasisi ni pamoja na muingiliano wa watu na wanyamapori, magonjwa ya wanyamapori, ekolojia ya wanyamapori, tafiti za ufugaji wa nyuki, kuidadi wanyamapori na matumizi ya teknolojia katika uhifadhi. Mambo mengine ni pamoja na uandaji wa mipango mikakati ya kuhifadhi wanyama muhimu kama vile tembo, faru, swala, twiga, sokwe mtu, tumbusi na kuendelea. Kadhalika, utafiti wa wadudu pamoja na ukusanyaji wa taarifa za wadudu nchini wenye umuhimu katika masuala ya uchavushaji na kuhakikisha afya ya mifumo ekolojia nchini. Vivutio vingi vya utalii ni matokeo ya tafiti za wanyamapori zilizopelekea kufahamika kwa tabia mbalimbali za wanyama kama kuhama kwa nyumbu na vipindi vyake katika mfumo ekolojia wa Serengeti. Halafu, mfanano wa tabia za sokwe na binadamu wanaopatikana katika hifadhi ya Gombe na simba wawezao kupanda miti katika hifadhi ya Ziwa Manyara. Hivi karibuni tumeshuhudia ongezeko la watalii nchini ikiwa ni matokeo ya filamu ya 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒕. Na kwa maana hiyo, taasisi imeendelea na jukumu lake la kuishauri serikali, mamlaka za usimamizi wa wanyamapori na Watanzania kwa ujumla kuhusu uhifadhi endelevu wa rasilimali zetu. Kwa kutambua umuhimu wa jukumu la kitaifa linalotekelezwa na TAWIRI, TAWIRI imeendelea kufanya tafiti za kimkakati ikiwemo urudishaji na uhifadhi wa shoroba za wanyamapori katika miradi mbalimbali ya kimaendeleo ikiwemo mradi wa kufua umeme wa Nyerere, mradi wa treni ya mwendo kasi ya umeme maarufu kama 𝒓𝒔𝒆𝒗𝒅, ili kuweza kuishauri serikali katika kuhakikisha uhifadhi wa Taasisi ya Utafiti wa Wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Maliasili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bayonuai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalamu kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na taasisi ni pamoja na muingiliano wa watu na wanyamapori, magonjwa ya wanyamapori, ekolojia ya wanyamapori, tafiti za ufugaji wa nyuki, kuidadi wanyamapori na matumizi ya teknolojia katika uhifadhi. Mambo mengine ni pamoja na uandaji wa mipango mikakati ya kuhifadhi wanyama muhimu kama vile tembo, faru, swala, twiga, sokwe mtu, tumbusi na kuendelea. Kadhalika, utafiti wa wadudu pamoja na ukusanyaji wa taarifa za wadudu nchini wenye umuhimu katika masuala ya uchavushaji na kuhakikisha afya ya mifumo ekolojia nchini. Vivutio vingi vya utalii ni matokeo ya tafiti za wanyamapori zilizopelekea kufahamika kwa tabia mbalimbali za wanyama kama kuhama kwa nyumbu na vipindi vyake katika mfumo ekolojia wa Serengeti. Halafu, mfanano wa tabia za sokwe na binadamu wanaopatikana katika hifadhi ya Gombe na simba wawezao kupanda miti katika hifadhi ya Ziwa Manyara. Hivi karibuni tumeshuhudia ongezeko la watalii nchini ikiwa ni matokeo ya filamu ya 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒕. Na kwa maana hiyo, taasisi imeendelea na jukumu lake la kuishauri serikali, mamlaka za usimamizi wa wanyamapori na Watanzania kwa ujumla kuhusu uhifadhi endelevu wa rasilimali zetu. Kwa kutambua umuhimu wa jukumu la kitaifa linalotekelezwa na TAWIRI, TAWIRI imeendelea kufanya tafiti za kimkakati ikiwemo urudishaji na uhifadhi wa shoroba za wanyamapori katika miradi mbalimbali ya kimaendeleo, ikiwemo mradi wa kufua umeme wa Nyerere, mradi wa treni ya mwendo kasi ya umeme maarufu kama SGR, ili kuweza kuishauri serikali katika kuhakikisha uhifadhi wa wanyamapori. Hii ndiyo TAWIRI.
Sio kama natania, sikukuu za utafiti tumepania.
Taasisi ya utafiti wa wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Maliasili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bioanuwai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalamu kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na taasisi ni pamoja na muingiliano wa watu na wanyamapori, magonjwa ya wanyamapori, ekolojia ya wanyamapori, tafiti za ufugaji wa nyuki, kuidadi wanyamapori na matumizi ya teknolojia katika uhifadhi. Mambo mengine ni pamoja na uandaaji wa mipango mikakati ya kuhifadhi wanyama muhimu kama vile tembo, faru, swala, twiga, sokwe mtu, tumbusi na kuendelea. Kadhalika, utafiti wa wadudu pamoja na ukusanyaji wa taarifa za wadudu nchini wenye umuhimu katika masuala ya uchavushaji na kuhakikisha afya ya mifumo ekolojia nchini. Vivutio vingi vya utalii ni matokeo ya tafiti za wanyamapori zilizopelekea kufahamika kwa tabia mbalimbali za wanyama kama kuhama kwa nyumbu na vipindi vyake katika mfumo ekolojia wa Serengeti. Halafu, mfanano wa tabia za sokwe na binadamu wanaopatikana katika
Dear delegates and high table, kindly keep raising so that we can sing our national anthem, followed by East African anthem. Please. Studio.
Mungu ibariki Afrika, wabariki viongozi wake, hekima, umoja na amani. Hizi ni ngao zetu Afrika. Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Uzalendo pia mshikamano viwe msingi wa umoja wetu, na tulinde uhuru na amani, mila zetu na desturi zetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
While standing, let us commence our session by opening prayers, and kindly invite Reverend 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕 to come in front for Christians.
Tumuombe Mungu. Tunakushukuru Mungu mtakatifu, Baba Bwana wetu Yesu Kristo, ambao umetuumba ukatupa kukaa katika ulimwengu huu. Kipekee tunakushukuru Mungu wetu kwa ajili ya kutupa taifa letu la Tanzania, tupa watu, lakini pia na rasilimali zote katika nchi yetu, yote vinatoka kwako. Tunakuomba rehema zako pale ambapo Mungu hatujaishi kama unavyotaka, hatujatunza kama Mungu unavyotaka tutunze. Tunaomba rehema pale ambapo pia Mungu hatujapendana sisi wa Tanzania. Tunakuja mbele zako katika siku hii ya leo, tukiomba Roho wako wa hekima kalie taifa letu, viongozi wote wa serikali, wananchi, ili Mungu tuweze kuendelea kuwa na umoja na amani na upendo. Lakini pia utupe hekima na ubunifu wa kuvitumia vyote ambavyo Mungu umetupa katika nchi yetu kwa ajili ya manufaa ya sisi tulioko hai leo na hata watoto wetu, vizazi na vizazi. Tunaomba utulinde kwa nguvu zako siku zote. Tunaomba ufalme wako na mapenzi yako yatimizwe katika taifa letu la Tanzania. Katika jina la Utatu Mtakatifu tunaomba utusikie. Amina.
Asante sana Mchungaji Lukumai. Sasa ni muombe Sheikh Abdulrahman Salim kutoka BAKWATA.
Shukrani zote njema anastahiki Mwenyezi Mungu, Mola wa walimwengu wote. Rehma na amani zimfikilie mtume wetu Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, yeye na mitume wote na wafuasi wao waliowema. Mola wetu mtukufu, wewe ndiye mkamilifu katika ufalme wako. Kila kilichoko mbinguni na ardhini kinadhihirisha kwamba umetakasika na umesifika na kila sifa za ukamilifu, na umetakasika na kila sifa za mapungufu. Mola wetu mtukufu, wewe ndio mlezi wetu, unatulea, unatulinda, unatuhifadhi na unaturuzuku. Ya Rabbi, tunakuomba kongamano hili la mkutano huu lilo wakusanyisha viongozi wetu, tunakuomba ya Rabbi uweke mkono wako wa baraka ili atakayezungumzwa hapa yawe ni manufaa katika nchi zetu. Ya Rabbi, tunakuomba kwa taifa letu hili la Tanzania na mataifa yote katika bara letu la Afrika, utupe amani na usalama, walinde viongozi wetu, uwape hikma na busara katika kuongoza taifa letu hili la Afrika. Ya Rabbi, tunakuomba kwa taifa letu la Tanzania, utumishie amani ambayo kwamba umetupa, umeturuzuku amani hii ambayo imetufanya tufanye maendeleo makubwa katika nchi yetu. Tunamwombea rais wetu mama yetu Samia Suluhu Hassan, rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, mpe afya njema, hikma na busara katika kuliongoza taifa hili, yeye na viongozi wake wote waliokuwa wasaidizi wake, akiwamo makamu wa rais, waziri mkuu, mawaziri, makatibu wakuu, wakuu wa mikoa na wakuu wa wilaya. Ya Rabbi, wape hikma na busara katika kuliongoza taifa hili. Tunamwombea mama yetu afya njema, hikma na busara, ili atuongoze sisi kwa njia ya usalama na amani katika taifa hili ambalo kwamba wewe Mwenyezi Mungu umetuweka katika taifa hili. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam, walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Asante sana Sheikh Salim, na asante sana Mchungaji Lukumai for these blessings. Naomba tuendelee kusimama. While still standing, our next item is a special tribute to a global iconic conservation, Dr. Jane Goodall, whose lifelong dedication continued to inspire scientific inquiry and wildlife protection across the world. May I now invite Director General TAWIRI to
Taasisi ya Utafiti wa Wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Mali Asili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bioanuwai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalamu kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na taasisi ni pamoja na muingiliano wa watu na wanyamapori, magonjwa ya wanyamapori, ekolojia ya wanyamapori, tafiti za ufugaji wa nyuki, kuidadi wanyamapori na matumizi ya teknolojia katika uhifadhi. Mambo mengine ni pamoja na uandaji wa mipango mikakati ya kuhifadhi wanyama muhimu kama vile tembo, faru, swala, twiga, sokwe mtu, tumbusi na kuendelea. Kadhalika, utafiti wa wadudu pamoja na ukusanyaji wa taarifa za wadudu nchini wenye umuhimu katika masuala ya uchavushaji na kuhakikisha afya ya mifumo ekolojia nchini. Vivutio vingi vya utalii ni matokeo ya tafiti za wanyamapori zilizopelekea kufahamika kwa tabia mbalimbali za wanyama kama kuhama kwa nyumbu na vipindi vyake katika mfumo ekolojia.
even caring for each other, to name few. Further to that, Dr. Jane Goodall reveals that human is not separate from the nature, rather an integral part of the key factor to conservation and tourism development. As we celebrate the 15th TAWIRI International Scientific Conference, TAWIRI honors Dr. Jane Goodall's scientific achievement, courage, and love for Tanzania wilderness, and pledge to continue compassion is the heart of science. Understanding is the soul of conservation, and our planet's future depends on our choice today. Rest in peace, Dr. Jane Goodall. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mjingo, for that heartfelt and fitting tribute. And let us observe just 1 minute of silence to remember our great scientist. Thank you. Guest of honor and the delegates, can you be seated, please? Guest of honor, delegates at high table, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to recognize and warmly acknowledge the distinguished delegates gracing this scientific gathering. And I will be introducing by groups. So when I mention the group that you belong, can you kindly raise, and then we all see who are in this room. I would like to recognize the presence of chairpersons of the Board of Directors, Advisory Board, and Board of Trustees of the institutions under the Ministry of Natural Resources and Tourism. Please, can you raise? Thank you so much. Again, I would like also to recognize the former board members of TAWIRI, whose legacy continue to shape the institution progress. Thank you very much. Also, I would like to recognize government officials from various departments and institutions of the United Republic of Tanzania. And this year, we are especially delighted to welcome a significant increase of representatives from district game officers participating in the TAWIRI International Scientific Conference. So government officials, please, can you raise? All government officials, including DGOs, which has registered in numbers this year. Thank you very much. Also, I would like also to recognize the international delegates. This time around, we have joining with us from 22 countries. If I mention your country, can you raise, please? We have delegates from Australia. Thank you so much. We have delegates from Bangladesh. Not yet arrived. We have delegates from Canada. We have delegates from Denmark. Thank you. We have delegates from Finland. We have delegates from France. We have delegates from Gabon. We have delegates from Germany. We have delegates from India. We have delegates from Japan. We have delegates from Kenya. Yes. We have delegates from Macau. We have delegates from the Netherlands. Thank you very much. We have delegates from South Sudan. We have delegates from Sweden. Thank you. We have delegates from Switzerland. And we have delegates from United Kingdom, among others. Thank you. And most of us is a delegate from Tanzania. Also, I would like to recognize our esteemed sponsors whose generosity support and makes this conference possible. Please, can you raise all sponsors? Thank you very much. We have delegates from TAWIRI management and staff who continue to demonstrate unwavering commitment to research and conservation excellence. Thank you so much. We have delegates from development partners and conservation NGOs who really value allies in advancing our sustainable wildlife conservation. Thank you so much. We have members from private sector, including representatives from organizations such as TATO, BARIC, whose partnership remain very, very instrumental. Please, can you raise? We have leaders and members from communities, especially from wildlife management areas. We have organizing committee. Please, can you raise? Together with us, we have researchers and students, the backbone and the future scientific inquiry in conservation. Can you raise all researchers and students who are here? Yes, I expect this to be a big group. It's also my pleasure to introduce the chairpersons who will be guiding our 3 plenary presentations, as well as chairpersons who are going to oversee our parallel sessions, symposiums, seminars, workshops throughout our conference, our workshop and conference as well. Chairpersons, please raise. Ladies and gentlemen, it is also my honor to introduce our distinguished key speakers. Each leader in their respective field and valued contribution to the advancement of the wildlife conservation and sustainable development and scientific excellences across our region and beyond. Our first keynote speaker is Dr. 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒕𝒔. He's a distinguished wildlife veterinarian, chief research officer, and the Director General for Tanzania Wildlife Research Institute. With more than 2 decades of dedication and service, he stands at the forefront of conservation science in Tanzania. His excellent leadership, technical expertise, and commitment to advancing wildlife health and ecological research have significantly shaped national and regional conservation strategies. Our second keynote speaker is Professor Neva Muboko. Thank you so much. He is a renowned conservation scientist with over 20 years of experience in wildlife and natural resource management. He currently serves as the Director of Scientific Services at the Zimbabwe Parks and Wildlife Management Authority, ZIMPAC, where he provides strategic oversight for terrestrial and aquatic ecology, veterinary services, park planning, and community engagement. His work continues to influence policy, research, and cross-border conservation initiatives within Southern African region. The third and the last keynote speaker is Professor Dav Jan. Thank you. He holds a PhD in tourism management from Dong-A University in South Korea, a Master's of Business Administration from University of Dar es Salaam, and a Bachelor degree of Science degree from Sokoine University of Agriculture. He is a full professor in the Department of Marketing at the University of Dar es Salaam Business School. Professor Jan is a seasoned scholar whose research focused on the community-based tourism, with a particular emphasis on inclusive growth, sustainability, and the empowerment of the local communities through tourism development. We have honored by each of your presence today, and we thank you sincerely for joining us for this important scientific convening. Ladies and gentlemen, after that introduction of everyone of you in this room, it is time now to invite our sponsors for key messages. Ladies and gentlemen, may I invite our key sponsors for 2 minutes to deliver their remarks. With great appreciation now, Hannah, I invite the Administrative Secretary on behalf of the Director of Wildlife from TWPF. Karibu, Mr. Kauze.
Thank you very much.
Please, podium is yours.
Honorable guests, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, protocol observed, good morning to everybody. I have been called here as a sponsor of this international conference, and I'm representing the Tanzania Wildlife Protection Fund. Tanzania Wildlife Protection Fund is one of the funds that was established in order to facilitate conservation in Tanzania, including research. And the purpose was to kind of bridge the gap between the government budgets and the needs for conservation. It therefore serves the purpose of facilitating those issues that are kind of beyond the normal budget. So it has been doing so for over 40 years. It started in 1978, and now we are marking something like 48 years of existence. And we really commend TAWIRI for what they have been doing in conservation science. Their results, I believe the research results, has really prompted the growth of conservation in Tanzania. And we as a sponsor today, we believe we will continue doing so, so long we have the availability of the fund. I assure you that our commitment to support research is at our foremost. of our purposes of being in existence. With these few remarks, may I once again thank you very much for allowing me to say these few words. Thank you very much.
I invite Royal Conservation Limited to the podium, please.
Morning. My name is Idi Mfunda, and I'm reading this statement on behalf of my executive director who has not been able to be with us today due to other commitments. Honorable guest of honor, distinguished scientists and researchers, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor to represent the Royal Conservation Limited at this 15th TAWIRI International Scientific Conference. The Royal Conservation Limited is a registered company in Tanzania with a legal concession of Pororete Game Reserve hunting block. I commend TAWIRI for convening this important platform for advancing wildlife conservation and sustainable development. This year's theme, Innovations in Wildlife Conservation and Sustainable Tourism in a Changing World, is timely. Tanzania's globally significant biodiversity faces evolving challenges, including climate change, habitat loss, and growing human pressures. Addressing these requires science-led solutions and strong partnership. The Royal Conservation Limited remains committed to supporting research, technology, and innovation as foundations for effective wildlife management. We will continue working with TAWIRI and the other government conservation institutions to ensure that scientific evidence informs national policies and contributes to sustainable outcomes for nature and people. As environmental and social changes intensify, the scientific community must generate practical and adaptive solutions. This includes applying new technologies, strengthening monitoring systems, and developing conservation models that are resilient and inclusive. Central to all efforts is ensuring coexistence between people and nature. Conservation succeeds when communities benefit, conflicts are reduced, and biodiversity is recognized as an economic and social asset. In summary, I reaffirm our company's commitment to continued cooperation, responsible stewardship, and support for Tanzania's conservation priorities. We remain dedicated to working with the government, communities, and research institutions to ensure that our natural heritage is protected for present and future generation. Our doors are open, and we are very much happy to support this because the support we are issuing is based on the Arusha Manifesto, that the resources we are managing are for the benefits of the international community. Last, I wish you productive and inspiring conference. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Can I kindly invite UAG? Podium is yours.
Good morning, everybody. On behalf of Nicole and the UAG Foundation, I'd like to wish a warm welcome to everybody attending this very important scientific conference. I'd like to especially acknowledge the good work of Dr. Ernest Mjingo, our good friend and excellent leader at TAWIRI, and also Dr. Emmanuel Masenga. Both of these doctors have been invaluable in supporting the good work that the next generation of wildlife conservationists are doing in the Serengeti. And my wife and I have been fortunate enough to experience so much of your wonderful Serengeti ecosystem, and we look forward to continuing to support TAWIRI and also encourage these young conservationists and wildlife enthusiasts as the future custodians of the Serengeti ecosystem. Asante sana.
My name is Nicole Chow, and thank you very much for having us to continue our support. We will continue to support TAWIRI, especially for the good works to impact the ecosystem and all the conservation globally. So thank you very much.
Asante. I also welcome Six Rivers Africa, please.
Good morning, honorable guest of honor, distinguished guests, researchers, scientists, students, and partners in conservation. My name is Sheila Makindara, Chief Coordination Officer for Six Rivers Africa. It is an honor to join you at the 15th TAWIRI International Scientific as well. Africa is a non-profit conservation organization dedicated to securing and restoring key landscapes in Tanzania so that wildlife, ecosystems, and communities can thrive for generations. We work closely with the government of Tanzania through three main institutions: TAWIRI for research, TANAPA for protection of 2 national parks, Nyerere and Ruaha, as well as the local government for community engagement and human-wildlife coexistence programs. Our research partnership with TAWIRI is central to our science-driven approach. Together, we support and implement major national studies, including aerial wildlife sensors, camera trap surveys, aquatic ecological studies in the Kilombero and Ruaha rivers, as well as collaring and monitoring of large mammals to inform conservation and management decisions. Beyond research, we strengthen protected area management in those 2 national parks. We support wildlife restoration efforts and work with communities to reduce human-wildlife conflict. We improve livelihoods and promote conservation-compatible farming practices. A key part of our community work is education and awareness, which includes our joint radio program with TAWIRI, where we raise awareness among communities bordering national parks on science-based conservation practices, human-wildlife coexistence practices, and sustainable resource use. Through this platform, we aim to empower communities with knowledge that supports long-term conservation. We proudly sponsor this conference because we know that science has its greatest impact when it is shared. By supporting this platform, we hope to ensure that research findings reach decision makers, strengthen collaboration across institutions, and inspire emerging scientists and conservation leaders. On behalf of our CEO, Mr. Brandon Kemp, who couldn't be here today, I extend our appreciation to TAWIRI for its leadership, to all researchers, scientists, and students whose work continues to strengthen Tanzania's conservation landscape. We wish you a productive, insightful, and impactful conference. Thank you.
The last sponsor for today's session is the Nature Conservers. Please.
Dear guest of honor, distinguished guests and fellow participants, good morning. So my name is TAWIRI Mwampamba. I am the Science Director for the Nature Conservancy's Africa program, and it is an honor for this program to sponsor the 15th TAWIRI International Scientific Conference. This gathering is more than just a gathering, it is really a call for action. To collaborate and to ensure that conservation is not just about protecting nature, but about securing the future of people and wildlife together and promoting sustainable tourism. At the Nature Conservancy, we believe that science is the compass that guides us, and communities are the hands that steer the course. Our work in Africa, and specifically in Tanzania, spans rangelands, freshwater systems, and coastal ecosystems, because conservation is needed everywhere. And it is needed to build resilience, and for building that resilience, we require an integrated approach. At the Nature Conservancy, we strive to make sure that our conservation actions are underpinned by science, and to this end, globally, 1 in every 6 of our staff is a trained scientist in one of many disciplines, science disciplines, and about 1/10 of our staff are PhD holders. In Africa, about 1/3 of our staff are science trained. So for those of you who are still thinking about your science career and where you might land, do consider an organization such as TNC as a place where you might grow and develop your science career. Innovation for us is not just about deploying cool technologies and using fancy gadgets in the field. It is also about opening our hearts and expanding our minds to include a wider range of disciplines and knowledge systems that inform our conservation work and for monitoring our impact. We are increasingly putting more emphasis on the importance of conservation social science, bearing in mind that conservation is a space about changing attitudes, about changing values and practices, and this requires understanding people's motivations and aspirations, which we still aren't as strong at. Additionally, in recognition that valuable knowledge is generated beyond universities and research institutes, we recently hired, for instance, a global director of indigenous sciences, who is developing a strategy to intentionally help us to engage with knowledge systems that we are less familiar with, and to be critical partners as we gather the information necessary to make wise decisions about conservation. We are highly interested in expanding our science partnership, so please approach me and any of my colleagues to discuss that, how we might work together to strengthen conservation science in Tanzania. This week, please visit our booth and attend our symposium, where we will share solutions that matter. These successes are possible because of our partnerships with TAWIRI, with TAFIRI, and other government agencies, with many, many local and other international NGOs, and of course with local communities. Together, we can ensure that landscapes in Tanzania remain vibrant for wildlife, people, and for sustainable economies. We believe that the future of conservation is not tomorrow, it's here and now, and it starts with us. Thank you.
We are sincerely thank you all, our sponsors, for your unwavering partnership and commitment to advancing wildlife conservation in our country. Thank you so much. Guest of honor at this juncture, because we've been receiving a lot of speeches, let's have a few minutes to welcome Petro Luvanda to sing TAWIRI song. Petro Luvanda, please. Karibu tuburudishe. And they are still working with the technology. And you know, our theme is innovation in wildlife conservation and sustainable tourism, navigating the future of changing world. Technology is in the heart of that. As it is still challenging us, let us proceed with our conference. And when they are ready, they are going to entertain us. As we now transition to our first plenary presentation of the day, I have a honor to invite Professor 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕 to preside over this inaugural session. Let me Professor 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕 is a highly respected scholar and practitioner in wildlife conservation, whose leadership and wealth of experience continue to inspire transformative approaches across the region and beyond. We are honored to have him guide this important discussion. Under his chairpersonship, we will receive a presentation titled Harnessing Technology and Innovation to Advance Wildlife Conservation in Tanzania, to be delivered by Dr. Mjingo. This paper sets a tone for our scientific deliberation as it highlights emerging tools, cutting-edge innovation, and their pivotal role in shaping the future of conservation in our country. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to warmly welcome Professor 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕 to take the floor and lead us through this plenary session. Professor Noah, the podium is yours. Can we give him applause?
Thank you, and good to see you.
Good to see you, my friend.
Asante. Our guest of honor, sir, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I'm here to introduce our keynote speaker, the first keynote speaker, who is our Director General of TAWIRI, Dr. 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕. Dr. Mjingo is my old friend, so we've known each other for many years. And it's really a pleasure to have him here to speak to us on a topic, harnessing technology and innovation to advance wildlife conservation in Tanzania. Dr. 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕 is a distinguished wildlife veterinarian, a chief research officer, and the Director General of the Tanzania Wildlife Research Institute, TAWIRI, standing at the forefront of conservation science for over 20 years. His work explores the intricate links between ecosystem health, human-wildlife interactions, restoration ecology, and with a recent focus on the groundbreaking field of application of technology in conservation, including molecular and telemetry technologies in Tanzania. A key player in the reintroduction of African wild dogs and reintroduction of black rhino subpopulation. He has published over 40 papers in internationally recognized peer-reviewed journals, and Dr. Mjingo's research. Dr. Mjingo's research and leadership are directly shaping the future of Tanzania's wildlife. I have the honor to present our first keynote speaker, Dr. Mjingo, please. Karibu sana.
Honorable guest of honor, board chairs from different institutions, and distinguished scientists, karibuni sana. I think I would deliver my speech in short time to come, but I feel that I should still say it that you are warmly welcome, and we are happy to have you here. We are happy to have you here. We know you are busy, but equally important, you gave your time for this conference. So I'm also honored that I am delivering the first lecture at this 15th TAWIRI International Conference. I very rarely give these plenary sessions, but I think I will try my level best here. What I'm bringing here is actually, what I'm bringing here is actually not a very new technologies and innovation, but I just wanted to showcase, to realize the importance of having technology and innovation applied in conservation. We are so far doing very well, but we still need to do more on the conservation. Now, Tanzania at conservation crossroad. We know we are home of actually significant ecosystems, large, vast diversity ecosystems. Just to name few, when you speak of Serengeti, you are speaking of an area that is actually larger than other countries. When you are speaking of Nyerere Selu Mikumi, Katavi landscape. So you see that almost over 40% of the country is under some sort of protection when you join both wildlife and forestry. But also we have endemic species that really need your attention, from big mammals, plants, up to the invertebrates. And they all need to be looked at in a very focused manner. Now, we have pressing issues here in conservation and tourism. We are talking of climate change. We have witnessed the shifting of the rainfall and droughts. Actually, we were expecting that now the country is green because we should have received enough short rain. But all over the country, some few parts of the country have received rain, some other places not yet. Invasive species, this is a country issue. It is actually earmarked much in the protected areas because we care much about the protected areas. But in fact, this is not an issue in the protected areas. And if we don't look outside of the protected areas, you can actually not combat it alone in the protected areas because they naturally come from outside protected areas. Land use change. We see population growth, we see need for the community to have life, and this is actually negatively impacting the protected areas. Poaching, human-wildlife conflict is escalating, but also we also see skewedness in our tourism conduct. Now, all these pressures, all these emerging pressures, they are interconnected, and actually they put a threat into our economy through the destruction of the biodiversity. And we have been using a traditional approach to do conservation. They worked very well, and we are witnessing that we have seen very good things being done. And we acknowledge that they still work, but they need to be integrated into new technologies. They lacked some issues that most of the traditional, they are reactive and not proactive. They are limited and not really time to deliver information so that the policymakers can take the decision. For example, when you see wildlife survey methods that we have been using, these are technique that were developed in 1970s, and they were pioneered by Dr. Mduma. I see him here. We acknowledge the effort that you did in the survey methodologies, but we have seen today, we have seen they are slow, costly, and prone to a lot of errors, so that you don't get actually representative to date. But also you see traditional methods, we have tried several of them, but we still see intensifying human-wildlife conflict in the presence of traditional methods. And now this calls for a smarter solution. This is why we need technology and innovation, and this matters now because our world is totally shifting from traditional and is going to the new era. So traditional methods are no longer enough to protect species and ecosystem in a rapid world changing. We see threats are increasing beyond, and they are more complex together. So they need actually also smarter solutions. We see illegal harvesting is becoming more advanced. Actually, the poachers are developing technology, are coming up with innovation to evade us. So if we don't actually go with technology, then we are not going to be able to defeat them. Smarter solutions, we need to empower community. Conservation without community, it cannot work. We thank you for our sponsors. All of them, I heard them talking about involving the community. Conservation is about community. So when we go with smarter solutions that have innovation, community becomes part and parcel. But also technology and innovation are cost sensitive. Nowadays, globally, resources are difficult. And we are talking of how are we going to finance conservation at this situation that we are facing. So we need actually. But technologies, smarter technologies expand what we are doing. They provide real-time, continuous monitoring, and also they enhance a visitor's experience, because also the tourism industry has to go with technology as the visitors also evolve with technology. Now, as a national wildlife research, TAWIRI has the mandate and in the innovation agenda. We generate scientific knowledge for wildlife conservation and tourism, provide evidence-based for policy formulation, but we facilitate technology innovation and development and adoption. You may actually develop technology, but the most important thing is to make sure that the technology that you are developing can be adopted and can work outside as it is required. So this mandate is in align with national and global priorities. We have global commitments, and like CBD and CITES, you have to have modern tools for compliance. We are doing hunting tourism, and we are obliged to make sure that we comply with what the international community need. But with our Tanzania vision, science, technology, and innovation-driven development, all the development depend on what we innovate and use. And in the tourism, we have to actually diversify our tourism through digital transformation. Now, the turning point, innovation and technology for wildlife conservation and tourism. We must act now. And if we don't do, if we delay much, we have damage going on, and sometimes, and in some areas, it will be difficult actually to revert back, because the community will have suffered, but all the infrastructures as well, even the effort that we have been doing then may really suffer the consequences. This is just some of the technologies that I'm going to talk about, and I will carry you through very few, just 6 case studies that I think is worth mentioning and presenting to you, and so that we know what we have to do. And this will include wildlife population survey. This is the area. This is like you are doing an audit of what you are conserving. We have human-wildlife conflict mitigations, a bit of technologies, what we have been doing, control of invasive plants, tourism promotion, application of telemetry technology, DNA technology in addressing poaching as well as diseases. I thought these few can just give us a highlight. My job is just to open up, and your scientists will chew it more and bring it up more. So we used a lot of traditional ways, and they worked. But then in wildlife survey, it is a time now that we needed to change. And these changes are geared to improve. And actually, you don't have to throw the old technology because of the new technology, because you need complementarity. They have to complement each other. So at this time, we just have to work with them together while we are perfecting as we go. And the technology that we are using a lot, mostly the counting was using human to observe. And human error and fatigue during long survey. These surveys are too long. We have really wide, large ecosystems, and you need a lightweight plane, small aircrafts, to be able to fly very low and observe the animals and count. But also they had high operation costs. And if you want to do a photograph, you have to operate manually. And this is a problem because by the time you press the button, the plane actually has passed the group that you wanted to. But they demanded too much time in data processing and all this. So you can imagine sitting in a Cessna plane and observing, sitting in that posture for 3 hours. This is very tedious, and you have a little window to observe and count animals. And that was the way how we were actually. I need technical assistance here. How do I do the pointing here? This was the way that we used to keep our data, our information. But now we go to a new technology. Sorry, this is technology. I think we go with it like that. So I think we saw the opportunity of a new technology and innovations coming together to make sure that you have a more accurate and high quality data. So this is high resolution camera systems or oblique camera count. You have cameras that are attached into the wings of the plane, and also you have a modular mounted cameras. This is for aerial point survey when you count migratory, especially the wildebeest. But also there's an opportunity of using drones to do the counting. Actually, when you, and we have started this in counting the hippos and crocodile. We are still piloting it in counting other species. The only problem is that you need actually the bigger drone that has a high endurance so that you can actually cover large area, because that is our biggest challenge, that we have more areas to count. So, but all these innovations involve automated photographic recording system, and you use artificial intelligence to assist the image identification as well as analysis. And in the OCC, oblique camera count. You have your camera fitted in the wings of the plane in an oblique angle and is taking pictures, and counting animal using photography is more accurate and consistent than using human eye, and more flying and make flying survey cheaper, because that means you will not have more observers in the plane. So you just have a pilot, probably a co-pilot, and the systems that is. And also you have to cover, you can cover actually large areas. And there are some terrains actually, when you fly with your observers, it's not really friendly to fly. You need actually to reduce the weight of the plane, and then you can fly those areas. But also it's easy storage and records for recounting, reanalyze, and verification when needed. I think there is a stack technology. IT. I move. Apology for the technologies.
Lete flash yenye nani yenye proteins. Power ni type C. Lete presentation. Let the flash.
Yeah, thank you very much, and please accept technological and innovation problems. Yeah. So we are trying to shift from the traditional and using the camera systems, and all these camera are geared to do automatic photographing of the areas that the plane flies, and you use programs or artificial intelligence programs to make sure that you identify, but also you get the correct number of animals that you are looking at. Such technology a bit cheaper and quicker, and they have high endurance, but you can cover even large area and in the harsh terrain. But the big advantage is that you can actually have storage in a digital form, and you can revisit, you can reanalyze where you have some uncertainties. And this is how we started. In initial, this is just assemblage of the equipment. Here you buy from the shop, and we started at the initial developing of the system. And that when you buy camera and batteries and data logger and all the equipment that necessary for recording system, then you can just make a box down here at the plane, and that box you put that system there, and that box replaces those two people who are observing, rear seat observers. So instead of using a human, now you can use that box. And this is just coming from a local workshop. And then now we are in a position where we upgraded the application. So you use a high resolution cameras. For now we are using Sony brand. And then the cameras are programmed to capture images automatically. And you can actually fly even up to 4 hours. And you cover large and difficulty terrains. But by doing that, then you can actually have several 100,000 images collected in that survey. And these images are processed through artificial intelligence, and the system that can identify the species. Actually, it doesn't only count, but also you can identify the species. But like I said before, we still use annotators to verify the system. And the system can identify, the machine learning can identify the animal, and it can give you the percentage of likelihood of identification. So you also need to make sure that you have your system learning different species. That's where the challenge comes, because you normally have multiple species and sometimes occurring in the same time, and you have to make your system learn. And the Scout is the software that we are using. We have established open a laboratory where you have people who are knowledgeable sitting and actually verifying what the machine has told you, because the machine can actually sometimes sleep and sometimes can give you wrong information if you are not really very keen. Then the output is that you produce geometrically corrected photos, and we can actually go into the orthophoto system, that you can have one sheet that is covering the whole of Serengeti. Because by flying in a close by a distance, you can eventually join those sheets, and you can have one sheet that presents the whole of Serengeti, and you can actually recount. But you minimize distortion, and you have uniformity, and these photos actually have coordinates, and you can actually look at the coordinate. The relevance of the artificial intelligence is that you improve your animal count. In this photo, if you were just flying and looking at with your naked eyes, you will actually see the drier part of the lake as just a heap of mud. But with camera and technology, you can actually see that they are hippos. So that's the advantage. So you are improving the detection, but also you are going actually to the accuracy. And this is how the system works. You can actually see how the system see the animal, identify. It will be very difficult to see those 4 hippos at the far end if you didn't have. So those one you would have missed them. This is the advantage. But also we have tried using drones in counting hippos and crocodile in the rivers and in the water bodies. And this has been piloted this year and is working actually very well. You can see flying the drones, and you have improved the result a lot. The last column show you the percentage in differences, and you have RIC observation. The first column is a human eye, and the second column is using camera, and the last column show you the improvement, efficiency, and level of detection. Actually, with this system, you see you can even do count crocodile and hippo aerially, which is sometimes very difficult to do it. So you see there is an advantage. So the point here is that from exactly same area, and this one was actually, we did it together in one time when we were flying, as the rear seat observers were observing and the camera system was working. So we can actually compare at real time. So you can have a fragment of your transect and count at the same time. So this one was done simultaneously. And you see that the camera systems automatically outperforms a human eye. So it is actually a very good technology. So the impact is that we have improved our accuracy and consistency. You lower your operation cost, timely reporting, and better for science. It is actually for the first time that you finish counting and you have the report ready. All the ecosystem that we have counted, we have the report ready. And this is a big achievement to the Institute. It has never happened before. So I will go through case study number 2. This goes into the human-wildlife conflict. It is now a nightmare because this is the map here shows how the human conflict incidents are distributed all over the country. So there is no actual specific area now. It is just all over the country. The incidents differs. Some areas have much incident than others. You see the big cycles, but the damage, some small cycles actually may give big outcry than large cycles, especially when it comes into the human crocodile, human hippo conflicts. So you see now the traditional technology now need to be revisited. It is actually impossible to have enough rangers taking care of elephants all over the country in that way. So we just modified technologies and they put them in a sequential and research on them, how do they work. This sequence works better. If you distort the sequence, then you have a problem. And this is what is happening. We have tested these technologies in the field. They really work better if you only follow the sequence. If you distort the sequence, then you have a problem. And you can see the percentage of efficiency. The last one actually is a modified Roman candle. We have a modification of that. You can see it's a combination of the three. you have more louder, you have more light, but you have more explosive of the chill pepper being thrown to the elephant to make sure that the elephant get that irritation. And we are practicing to the community, educating the community to use this toolkit. Some places work better, some places they don't work better, and we have to put the effort and make sure that we modify them and work. And we have actually modified the thunder flash. This one is basically similar to the last, the Roman candle, and it is actually a modified one, and it includes the 3. So we had the first version that it was a bit difficult to have a long reach. In the application of these procedures, you also consider the safety of the human and safety of the animal as well. So the first incident, we were throwing it by hand, but then it was not going very far, and we had to develop a launcher that now you can actually throw up to 100 meters from where you are standing. And actually you can throw multiple. The idea here is that you want this thunder flash to fly and explode when it reaches on top of the elephant. The issue here is that you want the pepper and the sound and the light scaring the elephant. That is the achievement. And this modification was done in collaboration with Mzinga Corporation. We are still going on to modify, and I'm sure we'll come up with a modified technology, and we will be able probably to contribute to the reduction of human elephant conflict. And then at the same topic of human-wildlife conflict, we came up with exclosures, modifying exclosures. We saw these exclosures, some location, they made this exclosure by using timber or woods, and then they will actually go bad with a short time. And we came up with this using high-intensity metal, and several of them are now in place, and they have actually proved to be very efficient in actually protecting people in localized. Now the problem comes when you have a lake and you have different villages, and how many are these exclosures that you are going to work to have them. But only not that problem, but now you have an exclosure one in at a point X. We cannot go both. In some tribes, I think even my tribe, Mduma will testify this, we cannot go to fetch water for men and women at the same place. So now it comes this challenge that, yes, you have this exclosure, so you have to go and add another one for the ladies, because automatically boys and men have dominated that exclosure. So this is a challenge that we have seen. But so far it works very well, and we have seen very positive response in this one. And it is important because you don't want to meet with crocodile in that way. So that was a modification of technology that we have. Issue of combating human-elephant conflict by using electric fences. This is a new idea that is coming. I know there is piloting some in areas. They are still under experiment, and we expect to be expanded. Still need more. We need more information, and this is because of the nature of the areas that we are working with. What we have seen now is that if you put at this stretch, the elephant just walks straight into the other stretch and just gets out. We have seen this in Mkomazi, Tsavo landscape. There's a fence in that in the side of the Kenya, and the elephant just walks straight down to the border of Mkomazi, and they spill back. And sometimes when they want to go back, they cannot go back because the barrier is already there. So it is an area of that need still researching and collecting more information and actually putting it into the practice regarding when you regard into the areas, protected areas that we have. But then the impact of the technology we have seen, like I've said in the beginning, where proper procedures are followed, the toolkit have worked. The problem comes when the proper sequences are not followed. And the frequency, when you do, you scare the elephant once and then you disappear forever, they just come back. So we need to actually concentrate in education, making sure that these procedures are being done in here. And for the crocodile exclosure and hippo exclosure, there is no question about that. Where we anchored them, we have seen actually changes very quickly, and the community is actually being alleviated. Now I will talk a bit on the invasive plant species. I said from the beginning that it is now becoming a very big issue, alerting when it comes to the protected area. But for sure, I have to tell you this, I have done this myself. This is, for now, it's countrywide. It's countrywide. What you see in the protected area, species that we see in the protected area, they are even outside the protected area. So we actually, as a scientist, need more thinking and discussion to see how do we manage this. Because if you manage them in the protected area, actually it will be wastage of resources, because soon they will be actually coming either by wind, by other transport. And this is the situation that you see. You can even hardly see a zebra. This is southern Serengeti, an area close to Ndutuma. You see this situation. This is down in the crater. My friends in Ngorongoro, they were trying hard to make sure that we remove them. So it's a challenge. And this is actually the distribution. So you see the entire area and you have a species there. You actually, as you are driving, you see the green, nice plains, and you see the wildebeest there, but they have actually very little to eat. And we have seen a lot of calf dying. Almost 25% of the calves are dying because of the parents, they don't get enough to eat. So the turning point is that the technology used this as an opportunity, and we produced briquettes as alternative source of energy. So you just harvest the invasive plant species and you use them as a source of energy to the community. So it is still need to be expanded, probably not very much sustainable, because what if the plant goes out? And we have piloted in this area and we have cleared some area, we have used them. And we have done practice with the community to make sure the community take them on board, and we call this program Mama Maarifa. And thank you for the funding from COSTECH and TAF, Tanzania Forestry Fund. They managed to fund this research and is still ongoing. And this is the property of the briquette that we made. And now we are in the stage of making a small factory somewhere so that we produce much using those invasive species. Case study number 4, this I will go to the tourism challenges. Many natural attractions in Tanzania remain invisible and some are inaccessible, and this is sometimes due to language barrier, sometimes due to just traditional, that I have to go in this area rather than this area. And we thought it is a time maybe to make a digital platform. This is done by one scientist in TAWIRI, the name is Dr. Jerome, and he's working on this, and it has proved to be really working, and we call it 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕. So you have a multimedia, multilingual, self-guided tool, and I have seen it myself. Thank you for TFS. They are funding this research, and we started with forests. So far, you have now forests, Hasama, Esimingori, and to be escalated. So you have the data linked with a dashboard for now, the ecological data, animal, cultural. So you have these things at your phone, and you can actually use it and select what you want, and you can actually access it remotely. So this has a big advantage because 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕 can actually go to do tourism without a guide. So this is a technology in tourism that we think, if harnessed and actually expanded, can work into other areas. And why did we do this? Was to just increase visibility of less known attractions. So if you have less known attractions and you put it into digital platform, people can see it, but reduce the dependence on untrained guides, provide multilingual. You can actually change the language as you wish, and it is actually affordable because you have it in your fingertips, and this is 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕. Then the case study number 5 that I will go into is application of technology. Thank you to our partner from Kilifi. I saw him outside here. Daniel, are you here? Ah, yes, I can see you. Thank you very much for that. We are using your product, and we used to direct observation. You follow the animal, just search them blindly, and you actually look at the animal. And you have low coverage, high labor, and you generate insufficient. But with the adoption of a satellite image, is that you fit different species of animals as you wish, and as according to the behavior of the animals. Actually, if you fit one animal, then you have a representative. So far, elephant, lion, wild dogs. But this satellite directly communicate with the gadget, and the data are transmitted either in real time or set. You can actually set, and you can change the way you want. And this technology helps us understand the seasonal movement and areas utilized by the animals. So remotely, you can do that one. But also help to focus on anti-poaching patrol, seasonality. You can see where the animal goes, seasonality. And also provide this virtual fencing, whereby you can actually send early warning for human-wildlife conflict. These are some of the animals that are fitted with collars. And this is part of Maswa Game Reserve, where groups of elephants were fitted, and the virtual fence was actually installed. And when the elephant moves out, you get the signal. Right out, you get the signal. When the elephant comes back, you get the signal. And this helps the early warning, and you can actually control, or you can actually send the warning to the village. But also, this technology show you that the areas that we are protecting, we think we have boundaries, they are not enough at all. So if the wild dog can move from Serengeti all the way to Narok, past Narok, and come back, but also can come from Loliondo all the way to Handeni and come back. So you see, how do we going to handle the human-wildlife conflict? So that's a huge information, and this tells us a lot as a scientist. Actually opens us that we have to think much. We should not think human wildlife conflict in a local way. It should be, we have to think it in a very wide. And the virtual fencing created around sensitive areas, and this can go actually together with these piloted electric fences, can go with virtual fence to have more data, if we can do that. And then my last technology that I think is worth harnessing now, and unfortunately, I have to say this, we have actually considered less to apply it. This is DNA technology in conservation. We normally see it and we say it's expensive, it's expensive. But as the day goes, actually what we are doing becomes expensive than taking the technology. And why are we saying, you know, probably it's just unwillingness of harnessing the technology, despite the fact that its application in biodiversity is actually needed now. It's not about what you have, it's about meta-population management, what animals you need to send where. We have rhinos that we are managing, and without DNA technology, you don't even know which animal to send where and for the management. Yes, we are experiencing a lack of human resources, very few people who are expert, but then we have also to have people in court who also knows forensic laws, because it's not just like laws and then you have to. But then what do we need to adapt the technology? The technology is there. What I see is an institutional willingness and modern facilities. This, when I say institutional willingness, I have been to this industry for ages, and I was really, really inspired by DNA technology, and I did my PhD in the same line. But the problem was that the institutions are not willingness. We are just standing and saying, no, you know, the technology, the laboratory has to be in Dar es Salaam. No, the laboratory has to be in Tanga. No, the laboratory has to be in TAWIRI. No, laboratory has to be in TANAPA. No, TAWA also wants a laboratory. So we actually don't know what we are doing. But what we need is actually the technology and the modern facility. It doesn't matter where you put it. Put it in Kigoma, put it in Dar es Salaam, anywhere. So this is what we need for this technology to go. And capacity building and training in forensic science for wildlife officers. We need to improve collaboration with the local and international partners, and we need the appropriate policies so that we can actually engage. I stand to be corrected. I know we have our partners from chief government chemists, and there are laws and all these regulations. I'm not sure if you can actually use human DNA law to actually prosecute or to work with animal or plant. I'm not sure about that. So we need to have this. And this becomes paramount importance because now we are experiencing poaching and bushmeat and diseases, and we need the technology. Now the technology is available. We are, with our partners, we are doing this. And the technology can help actual species identification. This, no question, can be done. And the track of the origin of the bushmeat or ivory. This can be done, but in the population management. Which animal is related to which one, how do we move the animal around. But also when it comes to the disease investigation, we are in the era where we experience a lot of disease. That's a hippo dead in one of the river, and you want to actually know quickly what happened. And the current effort that the technology is there, TAWIRI has tried to harness technology, and the facility, modern facility, will be there soon. Thank you to the government of Tanzania. We have been granted 9.3 billion to have a new facility, and in this building there will be a forensic laboratory. So there will be labs that are dedicated. And this is a 2 years project. And when we come here to another conference, probably you will have a chance to visit that area. And we have been doing capacity building in several areas, and we have improved the collaboration. And recently, we had a good meeting with Chief Government Chemistry Laboratory team. They have facility. They are doing some issues pertaining this, and Nelson Mandela as well, Sokoine University. But then internationally, we are collaborating with our colleagues in Kenya. Most of our samples go there and get analysis and comes back. But thank you for the Korean Republic as a partner. They have actually invested in TAWIRI to do such things. And what else we have has been done is that we have established DNA barcode reference for elephants. So at least we have from different locations. The library is ready. It's just waiting to be harnessed. And we just use a normal mitochondrial gene as a target. And this gene can work both in diseases investigation and even other crimes investigation. And you have one platform that can do analysis. This can be done very simply, and it gives you lower limit and high limit. The same machine actually can do disease diagnosis. Just having a proper primers, you can actually put a lot of samples together, and you have the diagnosis. And thank you to the Korean Republic. Molecular diagnostic is being done now. There's a great improvement in our existing Serengeti Wildlife Laboratory. Here is Dr. Baraka Ndosi and his team working at that laboratory. And we have actually done a lot of DNA application in the diseases investigation. This was one of the work that I did myself. This was global health on imaging, just to see what is the possible pathogen that the community can acquire from taking in the bushmeat. We know bushmeat is our normal. When you are in Serengeti, sitting there, when you are there, bushmeat is just a normal thing. Now, what is the possible diseases that you can get? And we had the facility, so we did like 500 fresh bushmeat processed, and we could see 3% detection of anthrax, brucella, and other diseases were seen. But then we were able to do speciation. You are outside in the village, just mimicking as a normal villager, buying the bush meat in the evening market. He tells you that this is a zebra, but when you do speciation, actually you find it's a cow. And we have also did this in a lot of sausages that we eat in the supermarket. They say, this is a beef sausage, but actually it's a kitimoto sausage or is a bushmeat sausage. So there is no problem. We know all these things. So this is how the technology is growing. Now, in terms of training scientists, up to now we have trained up to over 100 rangers and officers involved in crime prevention, and these are first responder. We had our last training was in September this year, and these are rangers who are really first respond at the crime scenes. We bring them together and we give them these lessons, how to make sure that they contain a crime scene, how to make sure that they collect evidences that are admissible to the court. Otherwise, we can fail. But also, as a TAWIRI, we have staffs that are really undergoing intensive, long studies on issue of molecular and being able to harness the technology. Now, what is the relevance of all this technology? Because we need now this technology, and we have to go with technology. Otherwise, if we don't do this, then we will realize very late. The data generated provides a foundation for effective conservation and tourism development. but information generated inspires visitors. This we have actually said several times. We have developed that app so that the visitors have information. When you see the visitors are going in one location massively, that means that location has got a lot of information. And a lot of this information comes from researchers. And we contribute to the country economy, inform the policy, and contribute to the scientific community like what we are doing here. Now, what is the future? I think we have to strengthen the innovation and application of technology in conservation. We cannot really rely on using the traditional method now. It is time that things are complicated together, resources are limited, you need to integrate and have a solution of that caters for large ecosystems. So we need to strengthen this, create standard and securing all this. But then in the future is scaling these innovations and require a collective action. TAWIRI cannot work in isolation. This is my message to you, that we cannot work alone. We have just tried, it's just a little bit, and we are one institution, and together we can actually. So we call all our partners to join us and taking this technology and innovation to the next level for the betterment of the conservation and tourism. And together we can shape the resilience future for Tanzania, conservation and tourism. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Director General TAWIRI. I think that was simple and clear. It's my first time to really listen to what TAWIRI does over these many years, and you can see they're doing a fantastic job. Waziri, naona wanaitika kwa kweli. Inamaanisha TAWIRI is a place to be. Great scientists, and they're really doing a lot to save our natural resource in the country. The last part is talked about partners. TAWIRI cannot do it alone. We need to be there as partners to work with the TAWIRI. I think to me that's a takeaway. It's a massive work. It requires a lot of resources, and indeed we have to walk this journey together to be able to safeguard our resources. I want to give a few people, maybe if you have something to ask or clarification, so that we can also allow him to sit down. He has spoken for more than almost 2 hours. So if you have a burning question or something that you want to raise, please feel free. Just show up your hand. Okay, I don't see, okay, there's one there, 2, and then 3. I think those 3 are enough for now. Mic? There are mics around, please. Show your hand again. The first, yes.
Can I proceed?
Yeah, proceed.
Thank you so much for a lovely talk that tries to show how Tanzania, especially on the field of conservation, is trying to opt for technologies use. I would like to ask how TAWIRI has prepared to support researchers into 2 aspects. One, we know we have different laws and policies regarding on the use of different kind of technologies. Even like we can look at how the use of drones in the country is and its restrictions, how TAWIRI has prepared to support different researchers who are willing, trying to explore more wildlife things that are not more explored in terms of researches, how TAWIRI is trying to support them in terms of not having a burden of more laws and regulations to follow on the use. That's one aspect. The second aspect is how TAWIRI is trying to support researchers who are willing to use different kind of technologies, equipments, into VAT exemptions. Because you know, coming with different kind of things around here, you need to have more money to pay. And how TAWIRI is trying to support different researchers who are willing to bring those, or even buying those different kind of equipments, because when we are speaking about technologies, is human touch, high-tech human touch associated with money, and yet within the country, on the other side, there are people who are waiting for taxes. How TAWIRI is ready to support researchers into that kind of aspects. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't have my notebook, so I think I should respond one by one. Yeah, thank you very much for the nice question. We are really prepared to support all these, and that's why we are calling that together we go, we can go. Yeah, for your first question is that we do research, we coordinate research, we supervise. For those facilities that can be misused, we can supervise them. So if you have such facilities, please approach us. We will supervise you. We know when these facilities gets out of the hand, then they become actually the technology. Technology need management. If you don't manage technology, then you go, it becomes a disaster. So we will supervise you. Don't worry, just come. And actually, plus the second one, I should go together. We have the laws of the country, and the laws of the country has to stand. But as TAWIRI, as a government institution, we have ways to navigate. So I really invite you, come, we sit, we discuss, and we see how we guide you. And rest assured that that one we can handle it, and you can get those exemption and all this. The point to note is that don't buy equipment for yourself and then you say you want exemption. That's a different thing. If you buy equipment for your domestic use, we cannot go into that. Buy equipment that is going for the research, that will be benefiting wildlife research. Buy equipment, station it to TANAPA, station it to TAWA, station it in Ngorongoro, bring it to TAWIRI, then that is workable. If you buy your own equipment, then that is a different case. So we are ready to support. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, please. The gentleman standing on your left, yes.
All right, thank you very much for a very nice presentation. And I'm very happy that TAWIRI is actually leading to have a lab, a molecular lab, to address all the forensic problems we have, like the challenges we have or the gap we have. The main issue you have addressed in your talk about the policies in the country, I don't know how soon will the government, especially because we have the ministry here, we really have a big challenge when it comes to the use of forensic evidence in Tanzania. We do not have like a clear guideline on how to use and which lab has to work. Myself, I'm like trained as a geneticist, and then it's really difficult. Even if you have like expertise, it's very difficult to navigate. We know our law enforcement is doing a lot of work. They are arresting poachers and all the illegal activities. But when it comes to the court, we have a very clear system that they need evidence. And without clear evidence, now like the Tanzanian court actually has a system, has some guidelines that if you arrest someone with bushmeat, which doesn't have a skin in it, and especially the dry one, without any genetic evidence, it's very difficult for that case to win. So what I'm trying to say is that how soon, because now we have representative of TANAPA, TAWIRI, and all, how soon guidelines on how we can use genetic evidence and the structure in place so that we know how to go about, especially with the organizations that are working here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for nice question, and I want to assure you that the structure is there and the evidence in the court is being used. We have pursued some cases, and the platform and the laws and the guidelines are there. What we are doing now is to act because they all with time, and just get assured that that one is being done. And the law enforcers are here, they can actually witness that. We have a government platform that is doing that. And that government platform now is sitting very close to TAWIRI to try to have branches, because the country is big and the work, the burden is big. We know to be able to, for your evidence to be admissible in the court, there are rules and regulations and all this. Those one must be followed. If you have a forensic laboratory, you have to have a personnel who are really forensic registered. So if you don't have those, when you go into the court, then you are not, you cannot be admitted. And also the laboratory that the testimony is coming from need to be forensically registered. So accreditation. So all these are in the place. How soon? This depends on how far we run. I'm talking on TAWIRI. How soon we are starting to put up the structure. As soon as the structure finishes, I am sure we will be on the feet. And with the collaboration with our partner, local and international partners, things just can move very quickly. Remember, issue of poaching is not a localized. So you actually need a network, because poaching actually can be international. So you need partners. So in partnership, and I know my friend Lohai, I know you are in that line. So please come, we sit, discuss, and we work together. The issue is to make conservation, and we want to have zero poaching by using technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's have the last question. Gender balance, please.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. I acknowledge the presentation concerning technology. It is very interesting, and it shows future sustainability. But I have my question concerning the community involvement in all these things of technology. Yeah, because I know that in order to conserve, community is very important. And maybe I don't know, I could not see how are you going to involve community in this conservation, because some of other technology might have effect to the community. For example, I was looking at the fencing, this electric fencing, because we target animals, but if we are not careful, it will target even the other other individuals who are living around these conservation areas. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the nice question. There are stages in developing the technology. You innovate, then you scale up the technology, and then the technology goes for adoption. So adoption goes with education. So for that, for the technology that need to be done by community, then we go and we train the community. We do this several times. We have seen even in the toolkit. We want the community to be able to practice the toolkit for defending their property against elephants. So we train them and we capacitate them. We give them supports. Nowadays we have several ranger posts. Thank you very much to TANAPA, TAWA, TFS, Ngorongoro. They're putting up these several ranger posts for just the knowledgeable people to be close to the community. That's our aim. We want our rangers to know the technology and then to be close to the community. So those are the first, and that's why when we develop technology, we start with them. When they know, and then the technology can go. For the technology that they can't actually prehend, we prefer applying it ourselves, unless they are really specialized, because they are specialized technologies. And for the fencing that you are mentioning, in my presentation I said is an area that we are adapting the technology, and we are still actually working on it. We are going with the technology. What we want to do is not to actually disburse the technology while you don't have enough information what are the advantages and disadvantages of the technology. So we actually make not only cost-benefit analysis of the technology, how technology is expensive, how efficient, but also we look at the impact of the technology to the community. And that's our major thing that is driving us to go to the innovation and technology. So you have a technology, stays, the technology stays. After some times you see probably it has a negative impact to the community. Then you have to actually rethink, sit, drawing board, and go again. So I think that is our motto. But education to the community about conservation, about coexistence, about the importance of the biodiversity we're having, that is a key. And that will be actually the priority in every research that we are doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think I wanted to close this session, but my last comment is, when are we seeing the National Wildlife Status Report to see how much we have in terms of wildlife in Tanzania, per species, where they are? I think that will be really something good that we can have as a country. Status report of wildlife. I think we'll be discussing with the Director General over this, and I hope the partners can come in to really give you support so that we can have a very comprehensive status report that can inform, you know, policies and other decisions that we want to make as a country. So please join me to say a big thank you to our keynote speaker. Kwa makofi kidogo kwake sawasawa. Asanteni sana, and I back to the MC.
Professor is walking to his seat. Can you give him a round of applause? He has been presiding this session very well, despite of the interruption of the technology. I think you are still doing very well in time. And because Dr. Mjingo, you'll be the first to transit to the official opening, I would kindly advise you to drink some water in 5 minutes while I'm bringing the Muganda Ngoma, the entertainer, strictly for 5 minutes. And then we are going to indulge into the official opening of this conference. Thank you so much.
Full screen igual. If you train
Asanteni sana, mmetumia exactly 5 minutes. Na tunawapongeza sana kwa kudumisha mila. Thank you so very much. The guests of honor, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, can you please get seated as we transit to the official opening of this conference. To formally welcome us to this 15th scientific gathering, I once again invite the Director General of TAWIRI, Dr. 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕, to deliver the welcome remarks. Following his welcome remark, Director General will invite the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Natural Resources and Tourism, to convey the ministry greetings and to welcome our guest of honor to deliver his speech. Please, Dr. Mjingo, the podium is yours.
Honorable Nkoba Mabula, Deputy Permanent Secretary, representing the Minister for Natural Resources and Tourism, Dr. Edward Kohi, Director of Research and Training, representing the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Fortunata Msofe, representing Director of Wildlife, Dr. David Manyanza, the outgoing board chair for TAWIRI. I should also recognize members of outgoing TAWIRI body, retired Brigadier General Hiki, Mr. Hekima, Professor Kidegesho, General George Waitara, the board chair for TANAPA, Professor Faustine Kamuzora, representing the board chair for TAFORI, Dr. David Ndedianye, board chair, Wildlife Research and Training Institute, Kenya, mostly welcome. Representative of Conservation Commissioner for TFS, representative my brother Mushawa, representing the CC TANAPA, my brother Abdul Razak Badru, Conservation Commissioner in Ngorongoro, Leonard Mayeta, Deputy Conservation Commissioner representing CC Tower, Excellencies, Head of Institutions, conference sponsors, conference participants, distinguished guests, members of press, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is with profound respect and pride that I stand before you today for the 15th TAWIRI International Scientific Conference. And on behalf of Tanzania Wildlife Research Institute, I again extend my warmest welcome to all of our delegates, collaborators, friends from across the globe who have traveled here to join us. For 15 iterations, this conference has served as a critical global platform for conservation science, and today we continue that vital tradition. Our chosen theme is innovation in wildlife conservation and sustainable tourism, navigating the future in changing world. This is not a merely academic theme. It is an urgent strategic imperative that demand our immediate and collective focus. We are operating in an era where the imbalance of our conservation efforts are challenged by daily climate volatility, a flourishing human population, and complex land use demand. This pressure necessitates a fundamental shift in how we approach conservation and pushing us beyond conventional methods into a new age defined by agility, collaboration, and most importantly, technology and innovation. Honorable guest of honor, in the next 3 days, we will share research finding, exchange innovation ideas, and come up with collective way forward that ensures biodiversity conservation continues to thrive through innovation and technology advancement. The wildlife information sharing will be through plenary presentations. This will be marked by 3 keynote speakers. There will be oral presentations amounting 108, poster presentations, that will be 51, virtual presentations, that will be 4. There will be 7 seminars, 5 symposiums, and 3 workshops, making a total of 260 presentations altogether at this conference. Honorable guest of honor, the lasting significance of this biannual gathering cannot be overstated. Since its inception, the TAWIRI International Scientific Conference have served as the scientific backbone of Tanzania's success in conservation narrative. The research findings presented in this conference have directly informed national policy, enabling our government to make evidence-based decisions on everything from managing wildlife, mitigating conservation challenges, and tourism development. Consistently brings together a long-term established research scientist with the dynamic energy of young conservationists, ensuring the vital transfer of knowledge and building the next generation of expertise necessary to protect our global significant biodiversity. This continuity, collaboration, and commitment to scientific consistency are the enduring impact that distinguishes TAWIRI Conference year after year. Honorable guest of honor, TAWIRI wishes to thank all scientists and conservationists who took their time to prepare presentations and attend this important gathering, and urge all of you to engage with intensity and share your insight openly and forge the powerful collaborative partnership that defines success in conservation and tourism for Tanzania. Honorable guest of honor, on behalf of the TAWIRI outgoing board of directors and the management, allow me to express our sincere gratitude to sponsors who made this conference possible. I would like to mention your ministry as one of the major sponsors, TWPF, this is Tanzania Wildlife Protection Fund, Royal Conservation Limited, Animal Behavior Unit, United Asian Group, the 6 Rivers Africa, the Nature Conservancy, Grumeti Fund, WWF, the Jane Goodall Institute, National Insurance Corporation, North Mara Gold Mines, the Aga Khan University, Oikos, TANAPA, TFS, Ngorongoro Conservation, Tower, Frankfurt Zoological Society, Elephant Conservation Organization, College of African Wildlife Management Mweka, TAFORI, Gadgetronics, Kenzani Luxury Camp, Alteza Tours, and National College of Tourism. Olmotonyi College, Wildlife Conservation Society, BIT Tabora, TAWIRI Foundation, and TATO. Ladies and gentlemen, let the proceeding of this fifth conference be a springboard for groundbreaking strategies and solutions to ensure Tanzania natural wealth continues to thrive for generations to come. I thank you once again for your dedication, your expertise, and your commitment to this noble cause. Honorable guest of honor, with these remarks, I now take honor to welcome Director of Research and Tourism, representing Permanent Secretary, to give few remarks and welcome you to address this congregation and officiate the 15th TAWIRI International Conference. Asante sana.
Dear guest of honor, board chairs of various institutions from the Ministry of Natural Resources and Tourism, CEOs or head and institutions from different organizations attended here. Dear sponsors, presenters, and participants of this conference. On behalf of our Permanent Secretary, Dr. Hassan Abbas, the Minister of Natural Resources, I'm taking this opportunity to welcome you all to Tanzania, the home of good people. And we welcome you to our Ministry of Natural Resources, where our head office is located at the government city in Dodoma. That's your home too. So you should, our door is open, and you are welcome for any issues that you think the ministry can work on it. I should also take this opportunity to thank TAWIRI management for organizing this important conference. And again, I should thank all the sponsors that's supporting TAWIRI to make sure that this conference is organized well. For presenters and participants, researchers, I have a message for you. Your findings to us are very important. Form or make the basis for developing policies that we're going to support conservation. So if you see your findings are not used or not incorporated, there's a high probability we don't know it. So bring it, we'll make use of it, so as we make sustainable conservation. With that few remarks, I have the honor now to welcome the guest of honor to give his remark, but also officiate the 15th TAWIRI International Conference for 2025. And Koba Mabura, please.
the guest of honor, welcome to the podium so as you can officiate the conference. Asante sana.
Kindly be seated. I'll do simple. Dr. Ernest Mjingo, the Director General for Tanzania Wildlife Research Institute. Dr. Edward Kohi, the Director of Research and Training at the Ministry of Natural Resources and Tourism. Dr. 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕, the Acting Director of Wildlife at Tanzania, the Ministry of Natural Resources and Tourism. Chair boards of all the institutions under the Ministry of Natural Resources and Tourism. I also, in a special way, recognized the outgoing chair board of TAWIRI, Dr. David Manyanza, as well as other board members of TAWIRI for the good work that you have been doing. Let me also recognize the presence of our sponsors who are here with us. I don't want to mention one of you, but your names are all over the display. We really appreciate for your support. Let me also recognize the presence of commissioners, conservation ministers from TANAPA, Ngorongoro, TFS. Let me also recognize the presence of our senior officials from the Ministry of Natural Resources who are here with us. Let me also recognize the presence of all who have traveled to come and attend this special conference here in Arusha. Distinguished scientists, researchers, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all. Let me start first by acknowledge this noble work that has been given to me. It was actually supposed to be done by our Minister of Natural Resources and Tourism, Dr. 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕, who could not be with us here because of other pertinent matters. She has asked me to represent her on her behalf, and therefore I'll deliver her speech on her behalf. We wish to extend our warm welcome to our colleagues who are also joining us virtually. Your presence enriches this conference no less. We are deeply honored by the board and management of the Tanzania Wildlife Research Institute for inviting us to officiate the 15th TAWIRI International Scientific Conference. It is both a pleasure and a profound responsibility. The United Republic of Tanzania stands among the world's 4 mega biodiversity nations, an extraordinary blessing and an extraordinary responsibility. With more than 32.5% of our land dedicated to wildlife conservation, far above the global average, we have boldly declared to the world that nature matters in Tanzania. From our 21 national parks and 32 game reserves to 28 wildlife management areas, and the Ramsar sites, this country is a sanctuary of life. These places are not just landscapes. They are the living heartbeat of our past, present, and future. And yet this blessing calls us to act with wisdom. Close to 80% of our tourism depends on wildlife. As you all know, tourism contributes 21% of GDP, 25% of our foreign currency, as well as it supports livelihoods of over 1.6 million Tanzanians annually. This is not merely an economic matter. It is a matter of national identity, dignity, and intergenerational stewardship. Ladies and gentlemen, for conservation to be sustainable, science must be our compass. This is why TAWIRI exists and why this conference is so vital. Over the years, TAWIRI has consistently fulfilled its mandate as the government's scientific backbone on wildlife matters, as well as site scientific authority. We eagerly await the release of the National Wildlife Census, a tremendous milestone. The findings will illuminate where we stand as a country, what is thriving, what is vulnerable, and what decisive steps must be taken. This is the power of data. This is the power of science. This is the power to informed solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, the 15th conference has attracted over 600 participants from 24 countries with more than 248 scientific papers, symposia, seminars, and workshops. This is not just a conference. This is a global brain trust meeting on a Tanzanian soil. This is where ideas transform into policies, innovations, and lasting impact. I urge the scientists here, let your research inform policy, educate the public, inspire communities, and most importantly, transform conservation and tourism for generations to come. Ladies and gentlemen, Tanzania has its own Development Vision 2050, which places environmental integrity and climate resilience at its core. Research, innovation, and technology are the engine that will carry us toward that vision. Your work, every project, every data set, every insight helps secure Tanzania's ecological future. But research ignored is research wasted. I therefore call upon all management authorities, conservation partners, and the public at large. Let us use these findings. Let us turn knowledge into action. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme of this conference, innovation in wildlife, conservation and sustainable tourism, navigating the future in a challenging world, could not be more relevant. We face increasing pressure from population growth, land demands, habitat degradation, climate change, invasive species, poaching, human-wildlife conflicts, and emerging diseases. We have all witnessed the presentation that was just made recently, a few minutes ago, by Dr. Mjingo, explaining all the challenges that are ahead of us. These challenges are real, growing, and urgent. But challenges also open doors to innovation, collaboration, as well as courage. Let us therefore embrace technology, a new thinking so that Tanzania does not merely adapt to a changing world, but also leads in building one where both people and wildlife thrive. Ladies and gentlemen, more than 6 decades ago, the founding father of this nation, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, stood here in Arusha and gave the world the historic Arusha Manifesto. He reminded us that wildlife conservation requires knowledge, trained manpower, and international cooperation. His message still echoes today across Africa and across the globe. It calls us to stand firmly in protecting our inheritance, to recognize that conservation is expensive, but extinction is costlier. The government remains committed to supporting TAWIRI, including the recent approval of $9.3 billion for the construction of its new headquarters. This investment is not merely for offices, it is for the strengthening the scientific soul of our conservation system. Iconic destinations such as Serengeti, Ngorongoro, owe their success to decades of scientific insight. Let us now extend similar efforts to Ruaha, Rungwa, and Nyerere Selous Mikumi ecosystems, which are vast in regions with potential and in urgent need for strategic research. The government pledges to increase funding so that TAWIRI can deliver transformative research in these areas. To our scientists and researchers, I ask you to focus your energy on the pressing threats before us: human-wildlife conflict, loss of corridors and connectivity, habitat decline, invasive species, climate change, as well as the encroachment of infrastructure into protected areas. These challenges are the jiggers that hinder biodiversity conservation. If we do not act decisively, we risk leaving our children and grandchildren a world diminished. To our partners, as well as sponsors, this conference is possible because of generosity and community of many partners, donors, institutions, NGOs, private sector actors, as well as individuals. Your continued support is both seen and deeply appreciated. To the organizing committee, thank you for your tireless work. You have delivered not just an event, but a legacy. To our international guests, welcome once again to Tanzania, the land of Serengeti, Kilimanjaro, Ngorongoro, and Zanzibar. Here in Arusha, the Geneva of Africa warmly welcomes you. I invite you to experience our treasures firsthand after this conference. Visit Serengeti, the best safari park in Africa for 6 consecutive years. Visit Ngorongoro, the 2025 Africa's leading tourist attraction. In all those places, you'll find beauty, you'll find peace, but more importantly, you'll find home away from home. As I conclude, let me assure you, the United Republic of Tanzania underscores the importance of all research papers that you are doing. And we will be doing whatever it takes to make sure we act on what you have found in your research. It is through research that we will be able to combat some of the challenges that have been presented by the DG from TAWIRI. The challenges presented here is a clear testimony of two things. First, all the problems are well understood. And while I was murmuring with him there, I told him one thing. Yes, there's an issue of invasive species. Well and good, now you have come up with the new technology of creating briquettes out of invasive species. But how do you harvest those species? Do you harvest them manually? If you look at Serengeti with the size of 14 square kilometers, if you look at the population of the number of invasive species in the display that we have seen before us, then you all agree with me, we need innovation to do it more faster and more accurately, and even create more industries that are making briquettes as an alternative of combating invasive species. Ladies and gentlemen, with a great honor and optimism for the future, I hereby declare the 14th TAWIRI International Scientific Conference officially open. Merci beaucoup. Asante sana.
More applause for our guest of honor. He has delivered a very elaborate speech, full of instruction, courage, advice, and I believe the players in conservation, in research, sponsors, you have heard every single part of you, and I believe you are going to react promptly and accordingly. Thank you so much. The session that is, once again, we are going to request a guest of honor to kindly present awards to our premium sponsors and for invaluable support, and actually we deeply appreciate. And again to our outgoing TAWIRI board members in recognition of their distinguished services at the institution. Other sponsors will be given their award during dinner session later today by the guest of honor, and we are going to announce that during logistics. So with that, I kindly request to stand up, and everyone else to stand up, and to begin with, we should begin with the outgoing members of TAWIRI board, and the board chair, please can you lead to receive the award from the guest of honor. And the ushers, please. Delegate, please get seated. Thank you so much. Sasa sina list. Hawajanipa list. Hapa natafuta list. Board members present, please. Photo session. Watu wanatakiwa baadaye matangazo. Okay. Now it's time for our premium sponsors, and we'll begin with the Administrative Secretary, TAWIRI, will be followed by the Royal Conservation Limited, be followed by UAG, be followed by Six Rivers Africa, be followed by the Nature Conservers. At that order, please. UAG. After UAG, Six Rivers. Yeah, Six Rivers. I've said Six Rivers Africa. And the last but not least, the Nature Conservancy. In the meantime, protocol should prepare those chairs for photo sessions. We thank you, guests of honor, but we kindly request you to remain because we are going to provide you with chairs for the photo sessions. And the photo area is going to be this one. At the same time, the following group should be prepared for the official photo session. The first photo will be board chair from our various institutions under the ministry. The second photo will be MNRT management directors and conservation commissioners present. The third will be keynote speakers and all sponsors, not premium sponsors, all sponsors present. And the other one will be the TAWIRI management and staff. The other one will be the students sponsored by TAWIRI. And the last one will be the organizing committee, into that order. I kindly request our board chairpersons of our institution, together with our outgoing board members of TAWIRI, to have a first picture with our guest of honor and the item of occasion. And when they've seated, we are going to line and stand just behind them. Thank you so much. Now our directors from the Ministry of Natural Resources, Conservation Commissioners present, and the representative of Conservation Commissioners as well, please join the guest of honor to have a photo session. Thank you so much. Followed by keynote speakers, the 3 keynote speakers and all our sponsors. All our sponsors, including premium sponsors, keynote speakers and our sponsors. Someone can get advantage of the stage. TAWIRI management and staff. You can take advantage of the stage, please. Students sponsored by TAWIRI get prepared. All students. Students sponsored by TAWIRI present. Organizing committee, get prepared. I'm told the organizing committee and the moderators will join. Organizing committee. Where are the organizing committee? That marked the end of photo session, and as our guest of honor is leaving the conference room, all delegates remain for logistic and housekeeping announcement. At the same time, let's see if the technology has come back for the TAWIRI song. Ladies and gentlemen, before we break for lunch and prepare for afternoon's parallel sessions, may I kindly draw your attention to few important logistic notes. Yeah, your turn, Meshani. All session chairpersons are respectively reminded to ensure that their session commences promptly in accordance with the program. Participants are encouraged to review their schedule, identify session of interest, and ensure they are in the correct venue ahead of time. All presenters are requested to upload their presentation before their session begins. This will help to avoid delays and ensure smooth and efficient proceeding throughout the afternoon session. For those who have not yet registered, are encouraged to do so before afternoon session begins. The evening session, that is dinner and networking session, is going to be held at Rush Garden, Sakina. Buses will be ready to transfer delegates from AICC to Rush Garden as from 18:30 hours. Lunch is going to be served at Piazza Garden near the reception where you registered. Lastly, thank you very much for cooperation. We wish you an enjoyable lunch and productive continuation of this conference. Thank you so much. Okay. All sponsors and keynote speakers, you are kindly requested to join the guests of honor at Karafu lobby. Other participants, we proceed at Pizza Garden. And board chairs and outgoing board members, please join the guests of honor at Karafu lobby